Hi, this is Kelsey Cruz. I am in the Fall 2016 Hero or Villain class, and I'm going to be doing my portrait over Coco Chanel. Coco Chanel was born as Gabrielle Chanel, that is her real name, in Saumur, France in 1883. So her mother actually passed away when she was 12. Her father really did not feel capable of raising her and her brother, and so he actually gave them to a convent in central France. So the nuns at the orphanage taught Gabrielle Chanel how to sew and design, and so this definitely was the start of her design career and definitely sparked her passion, and this led her to her central belief that fashion should be accessible and comfortable. But the convent was too strict for Gabrielle's liking, so she eventually fled and joined a boarding school in the town of Moulin. But this was obviously not much better. Boarding school isn't a ton better than a convent. So her strict upbringing in both of these places eventually led her to pursue a radically different lifestyle. So in her free time, Gabrielle began to sing as a cabaret singer at a club in Moulin called La Rotonde. And it was here that she actually got her nickname Coco, and this is how we know her as Coco Chanel. Some people claim that it was the titles of the songs that she sang that led to her nickname, and she actually claims that it came from the French word coquette, which means kept woman, according to an interview that she gave it with The Atlantic. Around the age of 20, she actually became involved with two men who were basically her investors. One was Etienne Balsan, he was a wealthy military officer, and then the other was Arthur Boy Capel, and he was a wealthy industrialist. And so with their help, she was able to open her first store in 1910, where she only sold hats. And then in the following years, she actually opened up 2 more stores and began to sell her apparel designs. So we've all heard the term boyfriend pants. This is basically when a girl wears her boyfriend's clothing and kind of makes it her own, and then it's kind of baggy and comfortable, but also she makes it her own, so it's still chic. What I learned while researching her is that it's safe to say that Chanel actually kind of coined this term, because she would wear the jersey of one of her lovers, and she would wear it in her stores, and then customers would say, "Where did you get that?" And so she would say, "Oh, I can make you one," even though it was just a man's jersey. So she would kind of customize these jerseys and make them for anyone who asked. And then her next revolution in fashion was to get rid of the corset. It was very traditional for women to wear a corset in those days. It kind of trains your hips, makes your hips look much smaller, and gives you more curves. But they were extremely uncomfortable and even made it hard to breathe. So she went ahead and got rid of the corset. This actually freed women up to participate in practical activities in relation to World War I. So by 1919, Coco was an incredible success at the young age of 32. She opened a shop in Paris at the close of the war, and that's still where her center of operations is today. So it's kind of a historical place, but it's also still a practical place that's still in use. So she has a few hallmark designs that are specific to her that she created. First, she created dresses that were able to slip over your head, just like a jersey, whereas traditionally women were stepping into their dresses and then zipping them up from the back. She also started designing with diagonal lines rather than horizontal and vertical, so this kind of creates an interesting effect to the eye. In 1925, she created the timeless Chanel suit. It's definitely a point of pride to own a Chanel suit, still to this day. In 1926, she created the little black dress, which has now been coined as the LBD, but she said that every woman should have a little black dress in her closet, and then she created the little black dress as well. During World War II, she shut down her stores completely. She had a love affair with a German Nazi and created a big scandal and was actually on trial for that for a while, so she just shut everything down. But in 1953, she decided to make a comeback, so this was very slow going financially, but eventually she was able to reopen her stores. And the Chanel suit and the little black dress came back with full force, and they're shown here in these photos on Jackie Kennedy and Audrey Hepburn. And then when Chanel passed away in 1971, her assistants were left to carry on her name and design. So even though she passed away, the brand obviously still lives on and is more successful than ever. Karl Lagerfeld actually took over as head designer and carried on her designs and her name, and he actually designed the logo that we all know and love today, the two C's that are back to back. And he continues to pay homage to the wonderful woman who created these beautiful original designs. And pictured here is one of her most famous quotes, one that many women still live by today, and I think it's a great motto for entrepreneurs everywhere. You must have a competitive advantage and something that makes you stick out from the rest of the crowd, something that makes customers keep coming back because they too want to be different like you are. So that is Coco Chanel. She was one of a kind, truly a unique woman who inspired others to break out of their shells in a time when many women were feeling repressed, and even still to this day I think a lot of us find inspiration in her designs. So thank you so much for watching. That's Coco Chanel.